Hey everybody, Rob here. It's time for a story from the ProRevenge archives. Construction Revenge, 10 years in making, and why I will never have another business partner. Let's jump right in. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Hello ProRevenge, I'm back with another long one. This one has been going on for a decade, and I am personally very proud of how it turned out. A little over 10 years ago, when I was a young carpenter, I met a guy who I'll call Chad, because Chad. Chad was a new hire by the company I was working for and became my helper. We got along famously, even though he was 10 years older than me. He didn't mind working under a 23-year-old carpenter as an apprentice. Chad and I had worked together for 6 months when he brought up the idea of starting a business together. He figured between the two of us, we could easily run a crew and build houses. After talking it over with my pregnant girlfriend, now wife, we decided that it would be better for me to be an employee, but still a 50% partner for tax reasons and insurance purposes. Chad said that was fine with him, so we started laying out who was taking care of certain aspects of the business. Chad was to be the guy to find work, as I look, and still do, way younger than I am, and it doesn't instill a lot of confidence in the client to think their framer is 16. Chad was also to take care of payroll, insurance, and any other financial factions. My duties were simple: staff and run the crew, and keep on budget, something that came easy to me. I was to be paid an hourly wage as well as 50% of profit after all business expenses. I never took my profit draw, as I rolled it back into growing the company. Things were great for about 6 months. The crew was working well together, we had a few houses under our belts, and a contract for a 10,000 square foot custom house with multiple outbuildings. Things were great. So Chad has never built a foundation, and we usually hired a crew to put the foundation in for us, as like I said, Chad has never built one, and I personally hate concrete work. We couldn't get our normal foundation crew in, so I stepped up and said, "F it, I'll do it myself." The company we were building for is one of the best custom home builders around, and doing a good job on this house could mean that we wouldn't have to pound the pavement looking for work. Work would be given to us. Perfect arrangement. Until it wasn't. Chad started spending money like it was going out of style. He sold his 2500 Chevy pickup and bought a new Jeep Wrangler. He had the Jeep for about a month before he sunk it in water while 4x4ing, and it caught on fire mysteriously a few days after. He received the insurance payout and bought a brand new Dodge 2500 Power Wagon, which he, in short order, sunk in water within a few weeks. I never noticed the red flags, as Chad and I rarely spoke face to face. He was the business side, I was the get done side. I finished the foundation and picked up the check from the builder. The builder said that we overbilled him by 25%, but he was happy with the work I done, but not to overbill again, as he doesn't like overpaying, as there may not be any money left at the end of the build. I apologized and asked him to cancel the check and issue one for the work actually completed. He agreed too and said, "I'm so happy to have honest people working for me." I usually don't pick up the checks, nor did I ever really look at the books, as it wasn't in the scope of my responsibilities. This prompted me to log on to our corporate account and see that we are so far in the red that we couldn't afford to buy a red pen, let alone cover payroll. I showed up at Chad's house and tore a strip off of him. He apologized and promised to top up the account with his personal profit draw money. I go into work Monday to find the locks on our tool bin had been changed, my name removed from all accounts, and a letter taped to the tool bin stating I was dismissed from my duties for an undisclosed reason. I was f***ing furious. I was not aware that as a business partner, I could be fired. I found another job quite quickly and tried my best to put it behind me. That's when I found out where the money was going, and that Chad had been slandering my name around town, blaming me for the missing money, as well as a bunch of egregious statements about my work ethic, trade skills, mental stability, and home life. I fastidiously tracked all of our interactions with a simple journal and had backups of the transactions of our business account. I also happened to have backups of all our texts, voicemails, and pictures of everything. This is the revenge part. I took the evidence to my father's lawyer friend, who started a fraud and embezzlement investigation through the CRA, Canadian Revenue Agency, Canada's IRS, and called the insurance provider to make sure they were being paid. They had never received anything. I called the builder whom we were building for and explained what was happening. He told me that Chad had essentially stolen around $30,000 for payment of work not completed and had broken into their office and stolen another $15,000 replacement value of equipment and tools. I did what anyone would do. I called the police. Police said they couldn't help me and said it was a civil case, and the builder said he wasn't going to sue as Chad had no money and it wasn't worth the headache. So I called his auto insurance company, sent them all the pictures of his sunk vehicles, texts about them, and a short video he sent of him lighting the Jeep on fire. Insurance company filed charges against Chad and won. Chad is on the hook for around $130,000. I've spent the last 9.5 years telling anyone who will listen about Chad and have had him essentially blackballed from the carpentry industry around here because it's not slander if it's true. I have also looked up his criminal history, as it is public domain every 3 months or so, and make a point of showing up at his court proceedings or offering myself as a character reference for the Crown prosecution. So I've gone out of my way to remind Chad that he can't f**k me over without repercussions. And no, this doesn't end here. Years have passed and I am still pissed off. I receive a call from a guy offering me a job. It was the builder that Chad screwed over. Not remembering that we knew each other, after I explained who I was and this bridge is burnt due to Chad, he still offers me the job. Medical, dental, company van, gas card, corporate credit card. I accept his offer. First order of business, find another way to f**k with Chad. Through the grapevine, I find where Chad is living and working. New boss calls the company Chad is working for, and Chad is summarily fired. I get in touch with Chad's landlord, explain how he operates, and Chad is evicted for unpaid rent. He was apparently a couple months behind. I also managed to get his girlfriend's phone number, call her, and explain what this guy does to people, and his extensive criminal history, including, but not limited to, fraud, identity theft, insurance fraud, his many assaults, and his wanted picture published in the paper. Turns out, she is owner of his truck, primary operator, but he pays the insurance. He cannot insure a vehicle until he pays off what he owes for the fraud. She asks me what she should do. I say that I'll take care of it. I call the insurance provider, explain what is going on, for them to tell me he doesn't even have a license anymore. They void the insurance on his girlfriend's truck after speaking to her and set up a sting with the police. I personally get to be involved as I knew what was going on. So I sit and wait for the day it goes down. I roll up behind the unmarked police cruiser and quickly explain who I am and what my plans are. The police are thinking that they are just waiting to pull him over for driving without a license and no insurance. I said, I'm going to call him immediately as soon as I see him. So he comes cruising out and I make the call. He actually picked up the phone to call me a bunch of names and promptly gets pulled over. Police issue a ticket for reckless driving, no seatbelt, no license, using a handheld device. During this, girlfriend pulls up and proceeds to give consent to search her truck. In the truck, they find multiple IDs, stolen credit cards, a couple ATM skimmer machines, and a fake police badge. He was arrested on the spot. Revenge over, right? Nope. Police then asked to search the residence he was living at. He moved into the girlfriend's house after I had him evicted from his own place. In the garage, they find a vast collection of stolen tools, a lot of which belonged to the builder I was working for from when he broke into their office, and they were all stupidly still labeled with the company's inventory control stickers. This brought on more charges, and he was remanded to police custody until his trial date. Well, Justice is sometimes slow here in Canada, and his trial date was at the time 17 months into the future. Well, yesterday was his trial date, so my boss, who Chad ripped off, Chad's ex-girlfriend, and I attended the hearing just to see the man squirm. His judgment was 8 years in jail after being granted time and a half for time served, a $100,000 fine, 1,000 hours of community services after release, and no possibility of parole. I got to watch him be taken away in chains twice. Never underestimate the fury of a quiet man, and Chad. Haven't we learned from a bunch of Reddit revenge stories already that the quiet guy who does all the work in the construction company and then gets screwed over is always the one to come out on top in the end? Well, we've just seen it again. Congrats to OP, and I hope everything's going well for you now. I want to thank OP for posting the story to the ProRevenge subreddit. You can visit them at the links in the description below. Please go there and give them an upvote. Once again, this is Rob from Karma Comment Chameleon saying thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share it with your friends. And we'll see you in the next one.